Hi, hey, hello. It has been a minute. I did not like how MIA I have been, but I am back with the regular scheduled content and I couldn't be more excited. The second I came in here today with my camera, I just felt like order was restored. So it has been a while and I am officially on Sunday, when this is probably going to be live by then, 24 weeks pregnant, which is crazy to say out loud. And I thought it would be a good idea to go over what I have been doing. So I'm going to break it up in a bunch of various videos, otherwise we would be here for a while. And we're going to start off with my training, going over what I've been doing, changes I have been making, and the most common question has been, what have you been doing for core workouts? So I'm going to take you guys through my core workout today because yes, I am still training my core. I think that this is a myth that is slowly being debunked, which is really exciting to see, that you shouldn't train your core. And that's not the case for any individuals who have been led to believe that to be true. We actually still need a strong core, not just during our pregnancy, but during labor and during the recovery process. There's actually a lot to suggest that individuals who take the time to train their core during pregnancy seem to have a little bit of an easier time, not just during labor, but during the recovery process as well. So having a strong core is imperative with your pregnancy journey. Having said that though, we do have to make modifications, and we talked about this in our last video, going over what doming and coning are and what we want to do to avoid those things from happening. So if you haven't seen that video, highly recommend you click right here, go check it out so you know what the heck I am talking about. But without further ado, let's get into the workout. I will always start off every single workout, regardless if I'm training core, upper body, or lower body, with the connection breath. And that's just where we are connecting our diaphragm with our pelvic floor. So I'll do this either sitting or standing or on all fours in a quadruped position. Today, I just feel like sitting, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna place my hand on my stomach, in my ribs, and we're gonna breathe in while relaxing our pelvic floor. And then breathe out and we're gonna contract it. So as we're contracting our pelvic floor, we're thinking about squeezing up. We wanna pretend that we are stopping ourselves from peeing. And then when we're breathing back in and trying to relax it, we're trying to relax it where we're trying to pee. But we don't wanna be too forceful. Don't squeeze super hard and don't push super hard. Just light up and down as we are breathing in and out, okay? So this is a 360 breath with the connection with the pelvic floor. We've talked about this in previous videos too. So I'm just gonna do a set of 10 here, okay? Moving on, we're gonna do one more set, but we're gonna do it where we're in a quadruped position. I find that some positions, it's easier for me to make that mind muscle connection with the connection breath, and other positions it's a little bit more difficult. So I'll start off with an easier position, such as sitting down, and then another more difficult position, which is typically like lying on my side or being on all fours. So that's what we're gonna do today. So just a set of 10 here, okay? Now that we feel like our diaphragm and our pelvic floor are nice and connected, we're gonna move on to our first exercise today, and that's gonna be the bear crawl shoulder taps. So if you find that this causes too much pressure on your pelvic floor, then simply just elevate without the shoulder taps, okay? So you just kind of have to play with the variations depending on what feels best for you. But with the bear crawl shoulder taps, we're going to elevate our knees off of the floor and make sure that we're bracing our core before we elevate. And then we are gonna do just a set of 10, okay? So let's elevate. And we're gonna breathe in and then out. Biggest thing when we are doing this is we don't want to rock back and forth too much. A little bit is totally okay, that's to be expected, but we don't want to be rocking back and forth like this or anything where our hips are shifting, okay? So just a slight rock back and forth is totally normal. One thing I will add that makes this movement much more efficient is if you are pressing through your shoulders. So we don't want our scapula to drop like this, okay? We want to have our shoulders nice and strong where we're protracting them forward, okay? So we want to maintain this position, kind of like your shoulders are rounded ever so slightly, but it keeps them nice and stabilized for you. So when you're up in this position like this, you're going to be way stronger in comparison to if you're collapsed like this, okay? So keep those shoulders nice and strong during the entire movement. To our second exercise. For individuals who are pregnant as well, you've probably done a lot of bird dogs, but I have gotten bored of them, just like I imagine so many of you have, so I've gotten creative with them as well, where I will do them in a weighted position. So that's where I'll incorporate a row into the bird dog with either a dumbbell or cable. Today, we are gonna use a dumbbell, okay? So if you feel unstable with this, make sure firstly you're lifting a light dumbbell, like 5 pounds. Even though we're incorporating a row here, we're not trying to grow our lats from it. It's just to make the actual core movement more challenging for yourself. So having things off balance by having to hold a weight is an effective way to do that, okay? But if you find even with a lighter dumbbell, you're just not ready for it yet, that's okay. You don't need to lift any weights with it. Just keep doing what you're doing with regular body weight bird dogs, okay? So I have a 10-pound dumbbell right here. We're gonna have the same leg on the bench as we have with the dumbbell. And then when we have our arm down, just make sure your shoulder is stacked over your elbows and your wrists. And then before we take the dumbbell down, we're gonna extend the opposite leg of which hand the dumbbell is being held in. And then we're gonna slowly, because you may find that the dumbbell wants to pull you down, so just slowly let the dumbbell drop, open up your lat, make sure you engage your core, keep that leg nice and straight, and then we're gonna breathe in, and then out when we row. And we're gonna do 10, okay? Keep that leg nice and strong, don't let it dip down or anything like that. That's how you can keep your core nice and strong, okay? And when we're done, we're gonna switch sides, same thing. Extend that leg nice and strong. Keep your core nice and strong. Slowly roll the dumbbell off to the side and do the row. So we're gonna do 3 sets of 10 for weighted bird dogs. The third exercise we're gonna do are called Goblet Marches. At first I was doing overhead marches where I would hold a plate overhead and you'd simply do a march like this. I just found that I was more so focused on my shoulder fatigue and it was taking away from the activation and just me paying attention to my core. So instead, I'm just holding a dumbbell in a goblet position and I love this. The marches are a really great way for us still to incorporate kind of a ab crunch without having our spine being flexed. Because as you know, if you don't already, when we go to perform an ab crunch, most of the time we're gonna experience doming. So we don't really get an opportunity to do a lot of spinal flexion, so a lot of crunching in order for us to really prioritize the rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles, right? So as you can see from the first 2 exercises, those are isometric movements where our core isn't moving. You know, we're incorporating the shoulder tap to get more engagement there. We're incorporating the row with a bird dog row to get more engagement there, but our spine isn't moving to create that tension, right? So the goblet marches are a good way to still do a little bit of flexion without your spine actually moving. So you're still working that area without actually creating any doming or coning, okay? So you can probably go pretty heavy on this, but just kind of play with it. I'm gonna grab a 30-pound dumbbell here, and we're just gonna do a set here of 10 on each side, okay? So we're gonna hold it in a goblet position like this, and we're going to make sure our back isn't arching. Really engage that core, squeeze your glutes, and we're just going to slowly bring one side up, one leg up, and then come back down and switch sides, okay? And then we're gonna breathe out as we march up. Breathe down, breathe in on the way down, and out on the way up. Really just focusing on that core engagement. So far, we have taken the time to prioritize mostly isometric exercises. We're prioritizing the rectus abdominis with the goblet marches. Now we're gonna focus on the obliques, but we're also gonna hit the adductors from this as well. So we're gonna do Copenhagen Lifts. These ones can be pretty tough and challenging, but I have found that I have progressed with them very quickly. The first couple of times that I did this movement, it felt very uncomfortable, not efficient whatsoever. I think I could only do like 2 sets of 5 reps on each side, but now I'm comfortably doing 2 to 3 sets up to 12 reps. So what we want is a bench here, and we're gonna come down on our side where, like I said, we're targeting our obliques, okay? We're gonna keep our legs bent. A lot of people will do this with their legs straight, but like I said, this is a brutal exercise, so I wouldn't even start there. I'm not even doing it with my legs straight whatsoever. My legs are bent, okay? So we're gonna bring one leg up onto the bench right here, and then we're going to come into like a side plank position. Make sure that shoulder's nice and strong. You're not collapsing it forward, okay? Really push through it and make sure that your elbow is in line with your shoulder, okay? Don't be too far forward or too far back, okay? And then this other hand, we're going to just have on our hip. And we wanna make sure our torso stays forward. I found that in the beginning that my torso was wanting to turn down like this to compensate. So just really make sure that you're opening up, and the only thing that's moving is our hips, okay? So the other leg is bent as well too. We're gonna breathe in, and then we're going to bring this knee to this knee, okay? So breathe in, and then we're gonna breathe out on the way up. and then come down. You can do holds if you would like. I find that the lifts, especially if you're new to this, are a lot easier, and I prefer the lifts in comparison to just holding. Okay, so we're just gonna do however many as you can. If you can only do 2 sets of 5, that's totally okay. So remember, keep those shoulders nice and open. And then we're gonna switch sides, okay? And even then, the last couple of reps, I can tell my shoulders is wanting to come down, and that's because it's trying to compensate. So just something to pay attention to. It can be hard to notice unless you're filming yourself or if you have a mirror. So filming yourself on new exercises like this can be extremely beneficial to ensure that you're doing it properly, okay? So we're gonna switch sides. I'm still gonna show you the sides so you guys can make sure that my shoulder is in the proper position, okay? You should be able to see my shoulder blades the entire time, because before, like I said, when I would go up, my shoulder would go down like this. So you wanna make sure that you can see your shoulder when you go up, okay? So let's get into position. We're gonna breathe in and then out. So even though this exercise is technically targeting your obliques, we're also working our adductors as well, which is actually very beneficial. There's a lot of research that shows that having strong adductors can be very beneficial during labor and just creating that strength that we need in our pelvic floor. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I started incorporating these into my regular routine. And the last exercise that we are gonna do are kneeling Paloff presses. I really enjoyed the Paloff press. I know not a lot of people do, but it's an anti-rotation movement, which again, is just going to strengthen some different areas of our overall core. So it can be very beneficial, yet again, during pregnancy. So you can do this standing up if you prefer, but I've been really enjoying it in a kneeling position. So we just wanna make sure that the cable is roughly in line with our belly button. I'm going to step further away here, and then I'm going to bring the opposite leg forward. Is it this way? I always get confused. It depends on you and the individual, but for me, I find I have more stability with my outside leg. Yeah, that feels much more comfortable for me. Okay, so the reason this is so beneficial is because when we perform the Paloff press, which is when we're gonna keep our shoulders forward, nothing is moving except our joints. We're gonna be pushing and extending our arms forward like this. When I extend like this, naturally the weight wants to pull me this way, and of course we want to resist that, which is why it's an anti-rotation movement. So it is gonna really be a great exercise for targeting and strengthening your obliques, okay? So let's pull this back into position. And we're gonna do a set of 10 here, okay? So breathe in and then out. Slowly back in and then out. Back in and then out. And then if it feels like when you push out, that the cable doesn't want to pull you this way and you don't feel like you have to resist it that much, then you can probably lift heavier. So there you have it. That is my core workout with me being 6 months pregnant. There are a couple of other exercises that I will do, but those are the staples that I have been enjoying. So I have been doing this workout twice a week. And what I'll do is I'll do one core dedicated day where I do all of these workouts just as I showed you here. And then I'll sprinkle in just one of these exercises throughout the week with the rest of my lifts. And the reason for that is because I hate training core. I'm really not someone who enjoys it. I never really have. It's always something that I have to be super creative with so that way I can keep myself motivated. So by doing only like one of these exercises each day, it allows me to make sure that I hold myself accountable and I actually make them a priority. So that's it for my core workouts right now, being 6 months pregnant. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do want to take the time to do this for the rest of my workouts. So stay tuned. I have 3 more videos lined up for you guys where it's going to be me taking you through the changes and modifications I've made for my lower body day, my upper body day, and then my calisthenics day. For those who don't know, I've been training calisthenics for the last couple of years, and the modifications that I've had to make with my calisthenics training has been the most. Whereas with lifting weights, the modifications are very subtle and to me, pretty trivial. I've done basically everything that I've been doing prior to pregnancy, like hip thrusts, for example, squats and deadlifts, little subtle changes here and there. But calisthenics training, whoo yeah, I've been humbled when it comes to that. So I will discuss that in a future video as well too. All right, if anyone has any questions, leave them down below. And if you guys don't know, I actually have a pregnancy app. So if you're going through this journey and you need some guidance, I have a pregnancy app that's called the Strong Mamas app. It's only $14.99 a month. I'll link it down below. You guys can go check it out. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.